And it just cuts off. And that's it for the never-ending story. It's good that I run that pre-roll in DOSBox because it reminds me that my MIDI volume adjustment is not set correctly. So I can do that now. And then crank this back up so it's not ear-piercing. Oh man. More Arcane. More Final Fantasy IV. That is a good-looking version of that game. I wasn't actually aware that it existed. I only knew about the older sprites and the, like, newer, like, chibi 3D versions of it. Alright, we can get rid of this start image. This is Spellcraft, Aspects of Valor, an Amiga action arcade game disguised as a role-playing game. Oh, no, wait. Crap. I forgot to load up my cheats, because this game is absolutely, unbelievably unfair, so we're just cheating as much as possible to get through it. Yeah, the whoever's in charge of Square Enix port to PC stuff lately should be fired out of a cannon into space, because it's been pretty bad. Alright, here we go. ASCII-ware. I want to say, it says ASCII-ware, but I want to say that I saw the, like, Broderbund logos on this back when I played it originally. Alright. They working designs it. Alright. Let's load up our cheat save here. We've been cheating for a long time. 35 times. Okay, so where are we now? Yeah, I'm a lazy American and I never learned a second language well enough to actually enjoy an RPG in it. But I understand the difficulty. It's like, you already have the localization, why not just do it? Talk to Mentor. We can't talk to Mentor because he's not there. We've already done all the stuff we need to do on Earth, so we're going to go back here. So, when last we left off, I believe our master Garwayan had been kidnapped by the Lord Wizards of their individual domains, and we have to go to the domains to find the keys to the other domains to find where they've hidden him and rescue him. So we're going to do that. We have the key to water already, so that's where we're going to go. And water is the biggest pain in the ass, so we're just going to load up our spell car here. Vroom vroom. I again have forgotten to save the extra spells. Now what's interesting here, they've started us on an island without a way off, so if we didn't have the flight spell, if we didn't have magic wings right now, we would be screwed. We'd be unable to progress. And right now we don't have the, you'll notice that fly spell only lasts... Yeah, that's pretty weird. Okay, so our health is a word value, that's correct. Let's give ourselves 1,000 health, that should be enough. So, apparently there was an SNES version of this that was never officially released. I don't know the status of it, but we can't use our best spell in this domain, which is really unfortunate. We can use Dispel, however, and Dispel is going to have to get us through. Oh, our spell was hitting the recently dead. It was hitting the corpse of the other enemy, so it couldn't be cast beyond this area. Okay, let's get these guys. Now, one thing, we will need to return our spell count back up to maximum. This game is basically an SNES or like an Amiga. It reminds me quite a lot of an Amiga game, just the way that it's set up, the way that it's handled, and the way like the enemies react and stuff like that. Basically, what we're looking for these 4 big chests here because they could contain the secret item for this domain, which is going to be the key to the next domain. And, like, the game gives you all these, like, cryptic puzzle hints about where the key could be and where to look for it. And really what it breaks down to is, I have Dragon Slayer queued up. I almost thought about playing that tonight. But I do want to finish this game. I started it. I think I'm probably 1 or 2 streams from the end. Oh, you know what? You know what I haven't done yet? What I missed out on doing, and I'm like 3 minutes, like 7 minutes behind on doing, is starting my timer so I know how much time I'm wasting on something like that. Phase 4 of Dragon Slayer. Yeah, I made it to Phase 4. I've been going down the Dragon Slayer rabbit hole recently. But 1428. Yeah, I've been practicing. If I do play Dragon Slayer on stream, I'll start from the first phase again. But understanding how the game works and kind of its mechanics and the mindset behind the developers, how they made the game. I've heard that it is I think it is the PC 98 remake of the original game, is what I've heard. There's some information about what was adapted and what was the common versions, and I managed to find some reference to like a specific widely ported version. Yeah, I think the 2 version is what was used for it was either 1.2 or 2. So I don't know exactly, but the Saturn version has 2 options, and I tested this a little bit because I thought it was very strange. The Saturn version has 2 options, the Saturn mode and original mode, and the biggest difference... Yeah, I think it's 2 that was made into the Saturn version. The biggest difference that I found between the Saturn mode and the regular mode is, in Saturn mode, power crystals give you 5,000 additional power. In original mode, they give you 500. And that means the grind in original mode is massively higher. I believe original mode is entirely accurate to the original version that they ported. It's something like that. It's either 500 or 1,000. Yes, crystals are limited. So the total amount of power and the total length of the grind in the original game is much higher than in Saturn mode. Also, if you get hit by green monkeys in either mode, you're very likely to effectively dead end the game because you lose your power crystal boost and retain only your experience boost, which is, I think, 0 for power. So you do have to kind of save often, and if you get hit by a green monkey, it can be game over. Oddly enough, I've actually been going through some of my my DOS archive, and there are ports and inspired games off of Rogue in DOS, I believe before Dragon Slayer was released. And it's pretty impressive. Just getting that stuff running on Tandy DOS on an XT computer, essentially. Oh man. The spell doesn't work great on these guys. I'd like to be using Explosion, but if those illusions show up, they're gonna be a pain. Let's, oh, there's an illusion. See? I knew one of them was just, right around the corner. This game has, strict priority targeting for your auto-targeting. So, whichever enemy it decides to target, you can't, spam the spellcasting on. Anything else? I'm actually really impressed with Dragon Slayer because of its mechanics. The block moving and the way that they incorporated, physical level geometry puzzles into the basic, loop of the game is really interesting and impressive to me in terms of, just the creativity. It's not like any other... there haven't been really that many games with a similar depth of mechanics and simplicity of execution since. So, it's... like the Rogue games... The Rogue games are as complex, or as deep, I would say. Courageous Perseus. Oh no, why are you guys not gonna do that one? Is it bad? Oh no, oh no, oh no, I gotta get to this thing fast so I can auto-target it. Oh, it's too late. It's too late. They're gonna take the auto-targets. Oh, interesting. I'll have to look that up. It's weird because, I was kind of weaned on DOS games, and DOS didn't get complex games until much later than other systems. Oh, that's kind of, that reminds me a bit of the loop of, Ys. Okay, we're gonna have to do this. We're gonna have to do this the bad way, which is... we have to spam on... Got him. Yeah, that reminds me of, like, not knowing how to play Ys when I first got it on the Sega Master System. And I swear, on the Master System, like, even the little, like, wood golem enemies in the first area would just wreck you if you were fighting them too early, and you had to fight the little blue guys first. Man, look at that enemy push. So one of the most dangerous things in this game is pits. Enemies will push you into pits really aggressively because they have knockback and you don't. There's a better strategy to fight huge groups of enemies in other maps, but unfortunately we can't use that strategy here in the water domain because fire spells, for which the best summoning spells belong, fire spells do not work for the most part in the water domain. So what we're doing here is you can see, by the way, how many enemies we've killed, even some far off screen. Also, the time to switch spells, the, like, dead air time that allows new enemies to spawn is so great that we can't use our explosion spell, which is more effective on the zombies, because it would allow too many of them to... It would allow too many of these illusions to spawn, and we wouldn't be able to deal with the additional... We want to know on the map. We need to deal with the illusion generator before we tackle this undead generator, because it's just going to be too much. Like, look at this pile of enemies it's generated already in a, like, less than a minute of active time that we've had away from it in our sights. So we basically just need to spam our spells until the enemy dies and it targets a new enemy. Otherwise... the wrong enemy could get hit. It could just not kill them. Oh, we're probably gonna die. We're probably gonna die. Yep, we're dead. So even with unlimited spells and unlimited life, we still get killed almost guaranteed. Because it spawns too many enemies. It spawns enemies faster than you can kill them. Also, here in the death domain, once you die, you don't immediately become... It's not immediate game over. You get sent to the death domain, where you can try to escape. And here's the problem. Is that in the death domain, it will send illusions after you, and there's a chance that illusions will be completely immune to physical attacks. So an illusion can come after you, and you'll be unable to defend yourself. You'll basically just get pushed into a pit if you have unlimited health. If you don't have unlimited health, you'll probably run out of life long before that becomes a problem. You'll notice on the map, we don't have as complete information as we did in the other domains. In the death domain, you can't use any spells. That includes the spells of, like, magic mapping, enemy detection, and treasure detection that you would normally use. So you only get the very basic layout of the map. And that does not include, like, these extra pits that they've placed. So we have to kind of walk around, and we have to do a full circuit of this level to find out if they've placed any quest-necessary large chests in this level. We have to get them. So you have to do this once every time the main story updates. And so since we're at a new main story update, our master has been kidnapped. We have to do this each time. We have to do this now, and then I presume we won't have to do this again until after we've retrieved all of the keys to the elemental domains, and then presumably found our master. We'll get a pretty obvious update when the game state has changed. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to circle the outside edge of the domain, because that usually has, like, the most treacherous terrain to navigate. Then I'll try to do a loop. I'll try to do a vertical, like, line-by-line coverage of the inner part. The problem here is that there's a lot of these graveyards that prevent you from walking around stuff. And the layout gets more difficult and more... Oh, no, you don't. Oh, this guy's just standing guard here. He won't walk any further south. That's problematic. Yeah, like this whole area is just a pit maze, it looks like. So maybe we won't do the death domain just now. We'll just get back to normal and hope there isn't anything here. So a thing that can happen, and you can see it here, is as you fight, you hold down a button to enter a, like, combat pose. So you can't attack at an enemy. You can't actively attack an enemy. You have to respond to an enemy's advance. If you're close enough, the response attack will happen frequently, and that's good. The issue is, yeah, so like here, I'll be able to attack constantly. And you can see he goes into the ready stance, and then occasionally he attacks. You can increase that rate by spamming the attack button. And you can also increase it by facing in a specific direction, because the animations are a bit uneven. So we're going to try to get to the top here. Like, this whole pit maze thing is a bit tough. Also, we can't fly here, so we can't abuse the flying mechanics. We can't abuse the flying mechanics to figure out where stuff is easily, which we can do in other levels that have pits. So given the number of enemies that they're now spawning, we may have to abuse the flying mechanics constantly. Like, that might be my first priority getting into the water level again, is figuring out where in memory the flying counter is stored, like flying timer, and then basically just, oh, this is not a passable area. Even though it looks like it, you can't walk behind that fence. Oh, and we're dead again. So we'll just load the game. And every time we move off of the action map, we need to... Oh, this guy comes back. He comes back to chide you for your loss, even though he was kidnapped before. They set him free to tell us how bad we are at our job. So we're going to save all that stuff. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cast Magic Wings on ourselves. It takes a second to actually engage. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start a memory address search. And we're going going to say, yes, it has changed. Okay. Now we're going to say, no, it has not changed. I'm going to say, yes, it has changed. We're basically narrowing down the memory contents that contain the timer for our flight. Oh, we're totally stuck here. This is a soft lock. We can't get out because we can't attack or cast spells while we're in water. And, oh, they might push us out. They might push us out if we're lucky. We'll get pushed to an area where we can... Oh, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there we go. That's our flying counter. So we're going to add that to our memory addresses. Flight time. And then we're going to save this again. Vroom vroom. Spell car. Okay, so now we're infinitely flying. This is going to make this much easier. The illusions can still attack us, but we can't fall into pits. We're going to have to disable it manually to be able to pick up the large treasure chests, which are around in various places. But our first priority is going to be getting rid of the obelisks that spawn the illusions. We can find those. I think it's going to be to the south. So, I'm sure no one's that excited about watching a stream where we just cheat the game into oblivion, but this game has earned it, as I've only slowly ratcheted up the level of cheating to match the game's absurd difficulty spikes with regard to like number and type of enemies. Ah, coffee. I'd best not drink coffee right now. It's almost 1 in the morning. Here's the one we want, this one. So we have to target this manually. No, not that one. So we have to cycle through all the targets every time we want to target this. Oh, we killed it in one? No, no, we didn't. We didn't. Oh man, that's good though that you've started again. Congratulations. Okay. All right, we have to cast, left click, and then right click to cycle through targets. And eventually it will pick that one. You can use the spacebar for this too. Since clicking on stuff doesn't actually work, it'll target whatever it thinks is the correct target, regardless of what you have put the cursor on. Okay, here we go. And the generator has 235 health. Each one of these enemies has 150 or 200 health for the undead, and about 100 health for the illusions. 50 to 100 health for the illusions. Hey, Kyo. This game it's something. I had this game for a brief period when I was a kid, and... Oh, did I kill the generator? I might have killed the generator. I killed the generator. Excellent. This game is a great idea. It's a great idea, and it has a lot of good concepts, but there are some elements to the execution that make it less than good, I'd say. It could be an extremely challenging game, but the way they've designed it is... I won't lie about the number of cheats that I'm using just to try to finish the game. Not to even do incredibly well at it. I still die. Yeah, there's some games out there that I won't play simply because there's nothing interesting about them. This game has some excellent elements. I think the art is really good. I find the music hilariously inappropriate, but good nonetheless. It's Fat Man, so he's done an excellent job. The concept and a lot of the, like... I won't say the characterization, because it has some really bad characterization, but, like, the ideas behind how they wanted to present the game with, like, the magical world and the mundane world and kind of the interaction between them and how your character can kind of become, like, the champion of Earth while fighting in a magical realm. Fat Man is one of the most prolific MIDI composers of the late 80s and early 90s, which means that his work covers a broad range of quality. I think some of his stuff is really good. This stuff is... like, if I wanted a, like, MIDI lounge music theme, this would be great. This would be actually pretty good. But not for fucking, like, Magic World in, like, Valoria or whatever. So, I've heard that he had a habit of simply sending whatever he had lying around when asked for material. So, like the famous Aphex Twin Lemonheads or whatever story where they were like, hey, you owe us a remix, and they sent like a courier. The courier showed up and he was like, here's a tape, and it was just some unreleased track that he had on hand. Tongue of the Fat Man, aka Mondu's Fight Palace. Yeah, that game is fucking trash. Yeah, and I think part of that is probably I think part of that is reputation versus bad producers for the game on the game side. That people got back a track from Fat Man and they were like, this isn't appropriate at all, and they didn't say like, hey dude, here's corrections, this music isn't right. But again, even a talented musician can have misses, and the more they output, the more likely you'll see some of those misses in productions. So. And I'm saying that not as a fan of Fat Man, because I'm in the middle. I think he had some good songs, I think he did some really good work, but I think overall he's overrated. All right. On the topic of music, I did play a game with I would say one of my favorite NES soundtracks, which is Xanac AI. Last night? Was that last night? Recently. I really enjoy the music in Xanac. Let's kill these guys off. We do have to kill every single enemy in the domain. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I did not know that. I think it's interesting with Xanac AI. I think that the NES version is likely superior in every way to the original. So, other than as a novelty of its time, I'm content with playing the NES version and eventually completing it. Someday I hope to. It is not a very forgiving game though, so that will take quite some time. I either did incredibly well under pressure when I played it on stream the other day, or I got very lucky. You'll notice this zombie is taking a very long time to kill. It's because even though I'm fighting him, Mystic Square. I'm not familiar with Mystic Square. I am not generally a shoot them up player. I have memories of Xanac from my childhood when I rented it and it destroyed me and I couldn't get past the first few segments of the game, much less the first error. But Xanac has no bombs, so that's one less thing to worry about, I guess. I'm sure there are more difficult shooters these days, but I will say that Xanac is intense. It is an intense experience to play. Have you played Star Trader on the PC 88 or PC 98? Speaking of plot presentation for the shoot 'em up genre, I would say there are maybe 3 shoot 'em up RPGs that I know of: Star Trader, Tyrion, and Star Trader, Tyrion, and Guardian Legend are the 3 shoot 'em up RPGs that I know of that have consistently some kind of supportive RPG mechanics, a consistent explained plot with lore and everything, and either vertical or side-scrolling shoot 'em up segments. Star Trader its shooting mechanics are not very good, but its cutscenes and plot and the kind of progression of your ship seem like a very interesting interesting mix. It has a branching plot. You can say no to the initial plot elements and it'll actually branch off and give you a slightly different start before you get into the main story hook, which I think is amazing. That's something that I don't think there are shooters today that do that. All right, what do we got? We got 2 more, but I know one of those is a fake. There's one more by that mud pile up there, and one more in the bottom right. So let's get the bottom right one first. For anyone who isn't familiar with this game yet, the map in the lower left has flashing brown dots that tell me where treasure chests are. but it won't tell me what type. Oh, hey, actually, we already got all of the big chests. There are 7 small chests. The 7 small chests would give us materials to make spells. However, since we're cheating and we're making our spells infinite, we don't need to worry about getting more spell components. We only need to get the big chests, which represent plot necessary items. Inside a chest you found the key to the air domain and a note which reads, "To receive a key to the kingdom you must sacrifice. Such sacrifice is good for the soul, or so they say." Inside a chest you found a squawking duck which honks, "Get out of my domain, you dirty mortal. I will have to pluck out your eyes if you stay here longer. Yours truly, the Lord of the Water Domain." Inside a chest you found a golden pomegranate and a bunch of ingredients. So we're going to save it. We'll save the game after pretty much every encounter or significant plot development. We found the key to air. So now we can enter the air domain and the water domain is closed off. We need to make sure we get all of the golden chests in each domain, otherwise it's going to lock us out of getting upgrade items that would be very useful later on. So we'll go to the air domain. The air domain is a huge piece of shit because it's full of pits. So we're just gonna... The first thing we're gonna do before we get surrounded by these guys is we're gonna cast Flight, and then we're gonna lock our flight time counter so we can't fall in pits. We won't be able to capture any of the chests while we're flying, so we're gonna wait until we've destroyed all of the generators that generate these illusion guys first, and we're gonna clear out all of the enemies from the stage. And the way we're going to do that, the way we're going to clear out the enemies, is we're going to cast the Dragon spell. And what I've done is I've searched memory here to add the bite for the Dragon spell and lock it, and then I'm going to remember to save it this time. I keep forgetting to save the memory table. So the Dragon spell drops these little orbs, and then after the orb floats into the sky, a dragon appears from the upper right and flies what is effectively north to south, shooting fire spells, incinerate spells, and one other type of spell that I can't really identify. It'll occasionally cast an earthquake spell. So we basically want to spam these dragons constantly to clear out the level of these illusions. The dragons themselves won't attack generators, so we can't clear the entire level by just casting the dragon spell. We have to find the generator, cast the dragon spell a bunch of times to clear out this giant cluster of enemies around it. Yeah. So you have to cast the dragon spell a bunch of times to clear out the enemies around this generator so that your auto target for the explosion spell doesn't target these enemies. And you'll notice someone's hit me with a fire spell already, so there's other enemies floating around that are going to interfere. Oh, that was a demon. There's a demon on the right-hand side of the screen here. And even the dragons don't take out many of these illusions on their own. So we still have to, like, cycle through all these targets. It's actually the target cycling that will take most of the time. Oh, we can't even target the generator right now. So we'll just, we'll clear out some more of these. Clear out some more of these guys, some dragons. It might be possible for the dragons to incidentally destroy the generators, because I don't actually see the generator there, but that could be a sprite limit thing. Ace Inertia. Once all of these illusions are gone, we'll know for sure if the generator is there or not. Okay, the generator is actually gone. So that's good news. So we might chance. Let's take a look over here. We're going to want to walk around. We're still flying, so that's good. We're going to want to walk around and find all of the big chests. There should be, yeah, there's 4 big chests. Just like in real life, you want to go after the big chests. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate. It's late, folks. We work blue here. I never understood what that phrase means, other than, like, what it actually means. Its origin. Alright. We're just gonna ignore that guy and let the dragons take care of it. They like to hide chests behind, we need to go back in the air. We need to fly again. And we're going to need to go... We're going to need to go cause some havoc. I don't know if you can see this, like, big pink blob here. That probably means there's a generator that's been generating tons and tons of enemies the entire time we've been off doing our thing. So we're gonna... Oh yeah, it's a generator. It's a generator that generates these demon enemies that are... They are beyond our ability to summon at this point. I'll let these dragons come in and see what they can do. You'll notice that the demons die a lot more readily than the illusions do. The illusions are a level 2 spell, I think. And while the demons may have a little bit more firepower, the illusions are much harder to get rid of. And they appear from the first, like, segment of the game. They're incredibly obnoxious. They're sometimes immune to physical attacks, and they're immune to almost all magic, like, almost all attack magic in the game. You can't hit them with fireball, you can't hit them with ice arrows or anything like that. The incinerate spell the dragons cast, the big red balls that makes them do the, like, red rave, that seems to be effective. That's also a level 3 spell, which is... You get that access to that spell at the same time that you get access to dragons themselves. And I believe the dragons cast it at a higher power level than you ever can. You'll notice this is a chest, I'm pretty sure. We'll deal with that once we've taken care of all of the enemies in the level. I like to hide chests entirely behind foreground stuff so that you have to cast the detect treasure spells to be able to find them. So we're just constantly casting this stream of dragons to be able to keep up with the flow of enemies and make sure that we don't get behind and, like, a generator generates several hundred enemies that we can't deal with. Then once everything's dead, and I think we're pretty close, I think we've got everything. There should be one enemy left that's about to die. I think it's this one. Yeah, there we go. So now we can turn off our infinite flight time, and we can go around collecting each of the chests that we need to collect. There are 3 chests remaining. 3 of the big chests, that is. Oh. Oh, that's a small chest. Here's a big chest. As those earthquakes subside, it's a lot safer to travel. There are still dragons wandering around, though, so they might still cast some earthquakes. As far as I know, this game doesn't have joystick support, and it basically just relies on the keyboard, and it uses key press information rather than like key up, key down information. So you'll notice, like, if I press and hold a key, there's a short delay before the guy begins walking in the direction. He'll take one step and then start walking. So one step and then he starts walking. And it's about a quarter of a second, I think, to half a second, something like that. And that's due to the rate settings of your system. So in this case, I think DOSBox might have programmable rate settings, but I haven't dug into it too much. The one issue is you have to issue the commands at or below. You have to issue the key presses at or below the frame rate of the game in order for it to correctly identify those key presses. Otherwise, it'll do things like it'll lock up and the BIOS will start beeping because it's loading up the key buffer, and the software, the game, isn't clearing it fast enough. I remember that being an issue on a lot of older PCs and stuff like that. Something I noticed here, we're actually back to the first air domain board that we encountered in the game. It's essentially the same exact layout as the like training area, although the enemy spawns are massively higher, and then enemies have probably 10 times the health they did originally. Okay, so there's 2 to my direct left that I can see quite easily. This one and this one, which is mostly hidden behind clouds. So we got everything. We can turn off all of our cheats for memory safety and move back. Inside a chest you found the key to the ethereal domain and a note which reads, "Take the key to the kingdom of heavens. In exchange, I take that which pleases me." Inside a chest you found a Japanese fan on which these words are written. "Get out of my domain, you impudent mortal. I have been patient until now, but you have tested my temper beyond endurance. I will destroy you, I swear, the Air Lord." 2 pomegranates and a bunch of ingredients, and it seems like we're gonna get the same thing every time. So one of the chests is gonna have the key, and the other 3 chests will have kind of useless stuff at this point. Normally the components and the pomegranates would be a good find, but in this case, oh, they start you 1 step away from a pit trap in this. So let's freeze our stuff. And then here in the ethereal domain, almost everything consists of pit traps. So we're gonna fly the entire time. Again, Fiery Forge, what does that even do? Oh, it turns enemies into, like, friendly stuff? Yeah, it turns enemies into friendly, defensive turrets, basically. But we're not too interested in that. First, we want to find out where the enemy... we want to find out where the enemy generators are. And then we want to destroy those. And the way we're going to go about that is we're going to go from north to south. We're going to weave back and forth across the map. And we'll note the locations that we find the big chests. Because we'll have to come back for those. But it's too dangerous to try to get those when any enemy is still alive. So there's one in the top right. Oh man, the game is going nuts. It's going nuts with the sound effects. Also, the enemies can move faster than some of the spell effects, so they can effectively outrun a spell indefinitely. Alright. Yeah, here we go. We're getting the dragon train started. It's gonna get real messy for a while. The dragons do continue and attack stuff off screen, so they should be clearing a path as we get lower and lower into the level here. Hopefully we'll be able to kill everything early on, and then it'll just be a matter of like clearing out the level. Here's all the dragons, by the way. They're just traveling in a line across the level. Wiping everything out. Hopefully. I hope they're wiping everything out. Once we get the little victory dance, we can stop summoning them. I do see a couple areas that look like they've summoned new enemies. So we'll actually cut our journey across the level a little short, because we want to go find the enemies that matter. It's the enemy generator and the last few living enemies here. I see one on the left died. I'm looking purely at the map now. Here's a demon. So that's all of the enemies. And then there's one. Oh, it's a planet. It's not an enemy generator. It is just a planet. Alright, so we'll go back up north. We're gonna go back up north and get those missing items that we walked past before. So this level is particularly a problem because you have to know where you can land, and it's not always immediately apparent where. So like, I'm not gonna try to even land there. I'm gonna go where I think I have a decent amount of space. And I'm gonna let my spell run out because it's hard to predict where you will actually land when your spell runs out. Not just when your spell runs out, but that you have to have solid ground beneath you or you are instantly dead. So it looks like there's very few items in the very center of the map. So we'll do a route along the outside edge. Let's get some of this stuff. This one's in a fortunately accessible place. Now normally you could extend the length of your flight spell by modifying the number of ingredients you were using on it, which would allow you to extend the duration from about 15 seconds to maybe 20 seconds. It's not much of an improvement. So you would be casting the flight spell. You'd have to constantly switch between the flight spell and the attack spells that you wanted to use in the middle of combat, most likely. You're only allowed to carry, I think, 255 copies of an individual spell, although you can make a variant of the spell and carry 255 copies of each variant. This is how you would, that's how you would normally approach a level like this, is you would have, you'd have 200 or so copies of the flight spell, and you'd be using them one at a time, and making sure you had a good landing zone every 10 seconds or so. There is a meter that shows you how much time you have left. But it appears that that meter doesn't actually function in the ethereal domain. So you'd be guessing every time, essentially. There we go. That was my mistake. I froze it at 0. So now we're going to unfreeze everything. And we're done. We go back. Inside a chest you found the key to the mind domain and a note which reads, "The key that opens the next domain must be traded for the key that you got here." Inside the chest you find a small papyrus on which is written, "As much as I enjoy visitors, I must protest your presence in my domain. If you ever return, I shall have no choice but to smash you mercilessly. Be warned, the Lord of the Ethereal Domain." And a pomegranate and a bunch of items. So, again, we can expect to find that in every domain that we visit. It'll be one chest with a note, one chest with a pomegranate, or some pomegranates, or a golden pomegranate, and a chest with a key, and a chest with some spell components. It's going to be those same 4 chests in every domain. Here we can't use the fly spell. So, what we can do is, in this domain, we want to start from the bottom and move all the way up, as opposed to the other domains where we want to move from the top down. And the reason for that is that while the dragon spell works better... Oh, these guys push you way more than usual. Let's get some... when you turn purple, you can't move or anything. You're completely vulnerable. Yeah, this is fine. As long as they're pushing me towards an area where I can't fall in a pit, I'm fine. So in this domain, there's these block walls. And the block walls prevent movement through this whole big maze area. The problem with the block walls is that they can't be passed over unless you're like, unless you find one of these areas with like a little elevator thingy. And so when you get to the elevator thing, you can only take it up and over the wall, and they only appear in front of walls. Oh, something's casting lots of spells around the domain. Those have to be demons, I presume. And they can very much stun lock you. So we're just gonna spam our dragon spells as much as possible. Now you'll notice the dragons themselves are targeting the enemy's spells and shooting spells that move at the same speed or slower, so they'll never catch up. That's also something that happens when you cast spells that auto-target. A lot of the attack spells that you cast auto-target on the closest, or some kind of simple AI enemy designation. Those ones will fall victim to the enemy spells are more important than the enemies themselves problem. So presumably there's an enemy generator around here somewhere, because there's a huge cluster of enemies here. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna dump maximum dragons on it. And I'm gonna take a little sip of my drink here, because this is gonna take a minute to resolve. Okay, we've killed most of the demons, but there's still a large number of them still there. You'll notice the illusions have innate flying, which means that they can attack you while you're flying. They are unaffected by pits. They're unaffected by ground-based spells. They also have a ton of magic resistance. It's an interesting choice for an early game enemy that appears in huge numbers throughout the game. Okay, so I think we've got this under control. The giant cluster of demons is dealt with. Oh, we can't go down this way. We have to go up and around. Well, there is a chest here, though. Let's get that chest, even if it's a small one. Oh, it's a big one. What luck. Alright. We're in good shape here. I seem to have gotten hit by a spell from somewhere. Who knows? It's making me rave. And that'll continue to happen. We'll continue to get hit by spells from all the way across the level. Enemy spells have several hundred times the range that your spells do. Enemies also move much faster than you do. You'll notice I can't outrun these spells, but they were able to easily outrun the spells that I was using against them. So we're just gonna have to deal with this constant, like, barrage of incoming spells from unknown sources until we find the sources and destroy them. And we're basically just gonna walk through the level, bottom to top, and get all of the, we're gonna get all of the crates, because by the time we get close enough to know which one we want to use, it'll be too late, and we'll have to get it anyway. So this is a dangerous area. We could get hit by something and pushed by the illusion into that crate, or into that pit. We just have to make sure that we minimize our exposure time to the pit. The pit stuff is instant death, So if you have the bad fortune of, I don't know what is even shooting me right now. So we're gonna look at our map, and basically there's two ways that we can go. We can go to the left, over this wall, to the left, up here, through this wall. There's one chest in the middle there, and I presume that's a large chest. Then we'll need to continue to the north, break out of this area, jump over this top wall, and then circle back around. I think we'll be able to get through here, but if not, we'll have to come all the way over the top and down this way, and then we'll be able to get these two chests. So it's important to plan out your route in this level, because you can get stuck and be forced to backtrack a great deal. That's not one of my dragons, so something else in the level is summoning dragons already. Enemy spellcasters have infinite, have basically the ability to cast infinite spells. They don't have a prepared list that they need to worry about like you do. They don't have that 255 spell limit. Also, every time you cast a spell, it's going to take a little bit of your health. Since we have infinite health, we don't have to worry about that. But enemy spellcasters that cast spells instantly regenerate that health after a brief delay of, I think, about half a second. There are two chests in here we need to get. We're going to get this small one to remove it from the map so we don't have to worry about a false indicator. And then we're going to head over here, and there should be another chest. So we got that. Now, the remaining chests I see, specifically, are two on the right-hand side, one in the top right, and one in the top center. So, as soon as we get that other chest, though, we're just going to focus on killing all of the enemies and getting out of the stage. We don't need the smaller chest. The smaller chest will always contain spell crafting ingredients. Ah, yes, there's a demon generator up here. That explains the stun lock and the issues with our dragons changing sides. And the extra summon dragons, because demons can summon dragons occasionally, apparently. Oh, we're stun locked. Oh, okay, we're not stun locked anymore. Okay, we got pushed in the water, now we can't do anything. I have no idea how you're expected to manage something like this if you're playing the game legitimately. Without infinite health, you would be unable to move or interact with anything during those, like, panic phases. And you'd be unable to cast spells, including heal, so you'd pretty much instantly die in a situation like this. And you'll notice that even this, like, tremendous number of high-level dragons is barely sufficient to keep up with, much less defeat, the results of the enemy generator in this level. It takes a long time of taking consistent damage and spamming an incredibly expensive spell to be able to break even on the enemy generation. So, I'm pretty sure we've summoned several hundred dragons, much above the 255 enemy limit that you would normally be The 255 spell limit you would normally be capped at. You can tell just by the number of items on the ground how many enemies have been killed.
All right.
Yeah, the enemies in this game don't actually deal generation damage. They have like an attack thing. Hey, Betsujin. Yeah, this is a game I played in my childhood. I purchased the game because I thought it would allow you to like create your own spells and you could combine effects and stuff. And I thought that sounded like a really cool concept. And then I got it home and I was immediately and sorely disappointed in what the game actually offered. And what it offers is a kind of mediocre Amiga-like arcade experience. Did we beat everything? Did we kill all the enemies? I sure hope we did. It's kind of a mediocre, like, isometric Amiga arcade game experience with extremely unnecessary, like, resource management somewhat tacked on. Inside a chest, you found the key to the fire domain and a note which reads, "Progress is swiftest when you travel light. I exchange my key for yours." Inside a chest, you find a prescription form on which is written, "Out, mortal, or else the Lord of the Mind Domain," and a golden pomegranate, and a bunch of items. Yeah, so I played this game as a kid, and it was, Yeah, the dragon spam is... It's a coping mechanism, I think, for the way that I play this game. It's possible to micromanage fighting enemies, and I'll kind of show that off a little bit. We're going to go to the fire domain. And fortunately, the fire domain is one of the easier domains. You'll notice I'm using a ton of cheats. I'm locking my health to its starting value, so I don't lose any health. And I've locked a number of the spells that I use. So there's attack spells like Explosion. If we use Explosion, we cast it on an individual enemy, and it hits and it does a certain amount of damage. So, for example, this Goblin Orc has 70 health. Takes a minute for our explosion spell to find it. Oh, we can't cast spells when we're waist deep in lava, and that's going to kill off many of these enemies. You'll notice the undead have enough health to stand in the lava almost indefinitely. Oh, we have dragons on this level too. Fantastic. So in order to micromanage attacking individual enemies like this, we would need to bring up the targeting cursor, target an enemy, and then we have to press space to cycle through every enemy in range. And you'll notice this lower enemy... where'd he go? Where'd he go? That lower enemy at the bottom here wasn't in range because he was too far to the side. So these enemies, let's see. Let's try to hit this one orc who has 70 health. And then that did 57 damage to the orc for the explosion spell. So we can cast, I think, up to 3. Oh no, in this case it's far more. So we need to cast 4 or 5, I think. on this one zombie in order to kill him. Now the problem here is that the explosion spell is the most damaging direct attack spell that we have, and these white ghost enemies, the illusions, are immune to it. So we would then have to switch to our defense spell, Dispel, and cast Dispel 3 times on each illusion. So micromanaging the attack magic directly is incredibly inefficient. The dragons, on the other hand, we summon a dragon, and the dragon attacks everything in its path for, I think, a minute and a half. And the dragons alternatively cast Incinerate, Dragonfire, and Explosion. So they cast spells that are damaging to all different types of enemies. So you can see on the map, our big white dot is headed to the east, and we're heading past a small area with a big pink blob in it. That pink blob indicates a generator, which is gonna basically unlimited enemies. And you can see kind of how quickly we've only been in the level for a few moments, and it's already generated this giant pack of enemies. Because of the number of times we'd have to cast individual attack spells to fight these enemies, we're just gonna keep spamming the dragon spell constantly. Like I'm gonna take a step, cast a dragon spell, take a step, cast a dragon spell, and I'm just alternating hitting the step and enter keys on the keyboard. Yeah, this is crazy. So the dragons come out, and the dragons will hopefully attack the enemies that we want them to hit. Although they seem to be doing a particularly poor job of it at present. They'll also cast Earthquake, and Earthquake will hit all vulnerable enemies, which are ground-based regular enemies. So illusions are not hit by Earthquake. But like the orcs and the undead are. Okay. We're getting somewhere with this. And to give some context, this is probably the 8th time we've been to each of the elemental boards. So this will be level like 35, I think. Level 35, 36, or something like that. Okay, we've destroyed the generator with our barrage of dragons. So now we can continue searching for these chests that we need. It's these big gold chests that we need to locate on each level, and then we need to kill all of the enemies in the level, including those that were generated from the generators. And feel free to use the, I believe the Frankerface's generated emote is available, so feel free to use that every time I say anything about generators. So we can see there's probably another enemy generator down here, because there's a huge cluster of enemies stacking up on top of it. Those run whether you're like in any kind of reasonable range to them or not. Yeah, I thought I saw a chest flash here. Chest flash. So we're just gonna let these dragons kind of take care of business. We've only got one big chest left to get. Normally walking through lava would actually generate your health. You'd die in a few frames after entering lava like that. The difficulty of this game spikes early and in a very extreme manner. The first couple of missions are comically easy. They're the tutorial missions. They have you fight 1 or 2 enemies, and those enemies are not difficult. Alright, we got everything. After the first few tutorial missions, they have you fighting wizards who infinitely summon enemies at you at a rate that you basically can't fight at that point in the game. You don't have access to higher level spells like Dragon and Spell, so you have no defense against it. Alright. Since we got all of the items that we care about, we can leave this domain. We will have gotten the key to the next domain. Inside a chest you found the key to the Earth domain and a message which reads, "This key will open the last domain in exchange for a small favor. The exchange has been made," which means they've taken the fire key again. Yes, Daggerfall was... I believe Daggerfall was after this game, and Daggerfall was like, holy crap, you can do pretty much anything, and then again, you get into the game and you play it, and you're like, oh, my, like, vampire magic-absorbing guy is great, but this game, I can't run it, and I just fell through the floor, and now I'm falling forever. Inside the chest, you found a page from a prayer book, on which is written, "Only a fool would dare enter my kingdom. No, mortal, there are fates worse than death, and they await you if you continue your foolish quest. The Lord of the Fire Domain." 3 pomegranates and a bunch of stuff. Inside a chest, you found a diamond-encrusted ring. It shows the face of the sun with scintillant rays radiating from it. So presumably that's the ring of scintillant rays that we got, which is going to be a little better for us. A little extra protection or something. It's probably impossible to play this game all the way through legitimately. I was unable to find any evidence of a video playthrough of someone actually finishing this game. So this will be interesting to see kind of the end of it. Fortunately, the Earth domain is kind of the easiest. It has the least incidence of pits, and they're relatively small. And it has the least annoying enemies, because it's mostly these orcs. But we don't care about that, because we're just gonna dump a bunch of these Dragon Balls everywhere. Oh, come on. We're stuck because the orcs are attacking us and locking us in place. But hopefully the dragons that we summoned earlier will be able to kill them, or we'll get pushed up into that little island in the upper left. That's my hope. You can see, even though we have the memory address locked for our health locked, the intermittent... Oh, no, we might be dead. We might be instantly dead. They can also attack in the water, which we can't do. Yeah, I think we're deadlocked. So we'll just let them kill us. Even with infinite health, it's still very easy to get into a position where it's impossible to progress. So, when you die, you go to the death domain. Earlier in the game, they made it seem like going to the death domain and searching it for items was a mechanic that you would need to use, but that was only for exactly one mission where we needed to do that, and then it was abandoned as a mechanic entirely. Since the orcs are going to prevent us from casting spells because they're going to push us into the water, and then they're going to What? What? No. Oh, no. It crashed. I think I pressed the wrong key in the cheat software. So we'll relaunch it. I will need to readjust the MIDI volume out here. Also, thanks to Justin Mones for his registering and dumping the Game Wizard software. It is much appreciated. I could not find my diskette. Hey, Malamute. I think that crash was my fault. I think I accidentally pressed F on the Game Wizard screen, which would have tried to load the file manager and immediately eaten shit because it is not DOS that it's dealing with. All right, we're in good shape here. Look at this. We're gonna turn off that flight time though, because we need to very quickly switch to Magic Wings and cast it. As soon as we start to rise in the air, we need to freeze our flight timer. So now the orcs can't hit us. And we can rain down cheap bullshit on them without fear of getting stuck in the water and being unable to act. Something to note. Something to note about this game is that for a game that I've been playing for almost 16 hours, there are exactly 6 enemies that are not the boss enemies. So that's the orc, the zombie, the illusion, the dragon, the demon, and one enemy that we haven't even seen yet. Which I think it's a beholder or something like that. I haven't looked lately. But we're basically just gonna airstrike this whole level because we just want this to be over as quickly as possible. And fortunately, you'll notice that most of the enemies will die when the earthquakes go off, because the orcs and the undead are susceptible to the dragon's earthquake attack. Yeah, that's our primary approach, is just spawn all of the dragons and use all of that. It's kind of equivalent to using like glass cannon DPS shock tactics in an RTS, where you have just one big ball of high damage units just going around destroying buildings one at a time. Except in this case, we're summoning them and they're short-lived. It's like an airstrike, or the laser, I think it was, the nukes, that kind of stuff. Except with no cooldown, and we cast it immediately, and we cast it every frame that we can. Alright. I think we're gonna be finished soon. I think I see the last couple of enemies getting wrecked presently. There's that one demon there. He's dead. And there's one orc over here who's probably gonna die from earthquakes. Got him. Alright. Now we can turn off our flight timer. We're no longer in danger of getting, like, soft locked in the water from enemies surrounding us and making us unable to move or cast spells. Yeah, so now we gotta go around and collect all the chests. This one. The Dragon Chaos will die down eventually. Also, by the way, I'd like to point out one of my favorite features of this game. Tiny houses. Alright, let's wait for the earthquakes to calm down a little bit. Woo! Party time! I also like that. Okay, here we go. Look how tiny that house is! The doorway comes up to his knee! And I don't think Robert is even, like, the biggest of dudes. He's kind of a, like... He's kind of a pansy. So, very, very small houses in the Magic Kingdoms. Okay. So now we're just going to clear out all these chests, top to bottom. And once we get all of the... Oh, look, it spawned a bunch of enemies even after it gave us the victory sound. So we're going to have to go back there and clear out those enemies. I don't even know how they spawned. Tiny, look at this! Like, his crotch is at roof level. He's a terrifying giant. He's terrorizing the people of this poor kingdom. We're the bad guy all along. We're like a bad guy in an alternate Ultraman. Alright, Tokusatsu? Tonkatsu, what's it called? The one where there's the one where there's giant enemies and superheroes, not the one that's like a pork cutlet. Oh, there's an enemy generator. Okay, so we're gonna have to kill the enemy generator with a dragon spam. Look at how many enemies it fucking made. And this is just since we did the fucking, like... This is just since we did the little victory dance. Only like a minute ago. So if we weren't spamming it like this, this would be nuts. This would just be... What you doing there, Robert? Yeah, so let's... Okay, we gotta, like... Gotta get the dragons in early enough that they actually choose to target the, that they choose to target this thing. You know what? We're gonna need to use our explosion spell. This is why I still have the explosion spell on, like, infinite numbers. So we'll have to... There we go. Got it. Got it. I think once you get the little victory dance, you're, like, good to go, but I don't want to take any chances having to replay any level in this game when I don't have to. Alright, so we'll go over here. It's weird. Some sound effects in this game use the digital sound, like they use the Sound Blaster, and some effects just use a MIDI instrument as a sound effect, and so they pass that through to the MPU 401. And I've noticed that it's like a contrabass or like a bassoon or something with playing a very low note for some of it. That's the sound that dragons make. I can see, like, on the side here, I can see the instrument patches that it's pulling. Alright, I'm guessing it's probably gonna be like, oh, we hid your Master Garwain in the Death Domain. Go get him from the Death Domain where you can't cast spells. Did they put... Yeah, they put the big chest in the far, far bottom left, so it would be the last one that we get. Other side note is, every level has this this Stonehenge that appears, and it can appear on the other side of the map from you entirely. Its position is almost entirely unrelated to your own, and if it takes enough damage incidentally from just spells or whatever, you lose. I think you lose instantly. You don't even go to the death domain. Inside a chest you find an Arabian lantern, on the side of which is etched, "Herein lies the spirit of the wizard Garwain. Ye who dareth release the spirit shall earn the enmity eternal of the Lord Wizards. A mere touch releaseth the spirit, but an exchange thence be made. Preferably any unwanted key ye may possess will do." Inside a chest you found a large oak leaf on which is written, "Here be my last warning, mortal." Oh, sorry, Kyo, I didn't see that. I did not see your question. Yeah, so when you die, you go to the death domain. The death domain has no map. It does not show you the number of chests available, and cannot be exited at will. You have to find the Stonehenge in the death domain, and then you can cast the exit spell, which takes you back to the regular, like this screen. If you die in the death domain, it's game over. In the early areas of the game, in the early stages of the game, they put some plot-relevant items in the death domain, so you have to go there at least once. And they kind of infer that it's necessary to continue to check the death domain each time there's an update to the main plot. However, since the first time that happens, that hasn't been the case. There hasn't been anything hidden in the death domain other than like extra spell components and the normal stuff you'd find revisiting a specific domain. So the death domain is a pain in the ass because you have no map and you have no idea whether there are any big chests there. So you end up having to do a full sweep of the area, and it gets more and more like instant death pit trappy every time. So, sorry, I hadn't seen your question previously. So, all right. Inside a chest you found a large oak leaf on which is written, "Here be my last warning, mortal. Leave our domains now, even if you find that which you seek. Know that ye have found but a part of what ye desire, the Lord of the Earth domain." Found a sapphire pomegranate and 200 of each item. "So, mortal, thou hast managed to collect the keys of Valoria. Perhaps we lords underestimated thy cunning. Thou hast even managed to rescue the spirit of thy mentor. Much good wilt Garwain's weak spirit do thee. We lords still possesseth Garwain's mortal remains. If thou wishest to resurrect thy mentor, findeth his body. We lords deign to give thee a present of more life, so that our defeat of thee will be even more glorious. You see, mortal, we lords can be very generous when we wish. We lords await thee, mortal. Great glory to the Lord who destroyeth thee forever. Come, mortal, the challenge is laid. We lords await thee." Oh, you fucking ghost Garwain. Which I need to do something with this. It's gonna take 1 second, and then I'll read the new thing. I apologize for the delay. I'm doing stupid stuff. Okay. Alright. Well done, my faithful student. You have rescued my spirit from the Lord Wizards, but my body is still held by them. The lords have no other choice but to defend their domains themselves. You now face your greatest challenge, Robert. Defeat the 6 Lord Wizards, humble their pride. In the process, try to find my body. I cannot survive long as a spirit disassociated from my body. Good luck, Robert. We've got Ghost Wizard here. Once you defeat a Lord, you will gain open access to that domain thereafter. However, the ferocity of your magical combat will draw beings from the dimension they inhabit into that domain. Not until the last Lord is slain will the domains be free of creatures, so be careful. I must now use all my energies to keep my spirit intact. Find my body soon, Robert, I beg you. No, I don't want to go to Terra. I want to go save. Save. Cheat 41. Alright. Okay. Let's just check to see if we have Dry Gulch, Arizona, Mexico, Haiti. We didn't have Haiti. We've got some new places to visit. So let's start with Dry Gulch, Arizona. One of the more interesting characters of Dry Gulch was feisty Deadhead McNorton. He wanted to be a pirate. Supposedly, McNorton's ghost haunts this town. I haven't seen him yet. Look at this beautiful cutlass. On the handle is the name Bluebeard. He was first cousin to Blackbeard and a nasty pirate as well. Hey, the sword just jumped into your hand. That's not fair. It's mine. What's this you've just given me? The lightning sword? Well, okay. The lightning sword is much prettier anyway. Just to show you there's no hard feelings, I'll give you some money for this sword. Here's $10. Thanks, dickhead. Fucking jerk. $10 for a priceless ancient artifact. That was a long walk for an old woman. What do you want? The sky gods are very strong here. I can give you the 4th rank magic word for the air college. It is Sverfilvninder. Alright, thank you. Haiti. Oh, the Navajo migrated to Haiti. My spirits told me that we would meet here at this stopping place on my way home. My colleague, whose hut we use, has allowed us to meet in private. There's danger everywhere for those of us who help you. I feel the fingers of the Lord Wizards pluck at my talismans while I sleep. They are trying to steal my magic. So far, my spirits have kept the lords at bay, but the spirits are weak compared to such mighty magicians. Okay, he's got nothing for us. I don't know why I'm drawn to this place, perhaps because the Taj Mahal is associated with death. Since the death of our associate, Ali ibn Mustaf, I've been plagued with frequent thoughts of death. The Lord Wizards know about me. They know I am a witch and have some ability with magic. They know I will help you. Therefore, the next of your allies to die will probably be me. I'm shivering. Would you mind holding me for just a moment? Would I mind? I'm gonna... Hey, Tails. Yeah, $230 lightning sword is much better. They'll pay like $50,000 for a pomegranate. I'm not sure I know the answer to this. I want to say yes, because I think they phrased this really poorly. Oh, wait, hold on. Go back. Would you mind holding me? Oh, they phrased it correctly. No, thank you. Oh, now this is nice, Robert. I could grow accustomed to having you hold me. But that's enough. We both have things to do. How can I help you? I found something of great interest in my book. It explains how you can enter the domain of death at will. Unfortunately, your magic will still not work in that domain, but you will be able to search for hidden treasures. There's an object you must find. The next time you visit the Mind domain, look for the Pearl of the Beloved. Bring it back to me, and I can give you an item of great potency that will allow you to enter the realm of death. In the Book of Witches, I was able to find some information for you. I've distilled recipes down into formulas. I found the formulas for a level 4 spell for each of the magic colleges, but I don't know which formula goes with which college. You'll be able to create at least one spell from each formula. Be prepared to write down the proportions of ingredients. First spell uses blah blah blah. We don't care about that. I'm afraid I couldn't figure out the last number of the sixth spell. Sorry. I just deciphered another clue in my book. 3 of the formulas I just gave you are used in the most powerful spells of your fire college. There is another formula specific to your magic college. With it, you can call down a storm of flames from heaven. The formula for this spell is Whatever, it uses the aspect of rage to activate it. Name it, sweetie. The great and handsome Magician-san returns again. Magician-san. It cracks me up every time. I'm glad you smile at my little pleasantry. While you recover from your journey, may I entertain you with yet another set of my stories? Yes. There's a story of the samurai and the geyser of fire. There was once a powerful samurai who was the scourge of Japan. No other warrior could defeat him. Indeed, so mighty was this samurai, he grew bored with this life. No one can possibly defeat me, he said. A fire demon heard of the samurai's boast and decided to teach the human a lesson. Up popped the demon to face the samurai. Defeat me, braggart, and I will give you all my magic. The demon said. Agreed, the mighty samurai. A terrible fight followed. The demon threw all his fire magic at the samurai, but the brave warrior swept every flame aside. The demon knew he was going to lose, but then a most clever idea came to him. Wait, he cried to the charging samurai warrior. The samurai stopped. There is one magic I know that will certainly destroy you, the demon said. It is my geyser of fire. Oh, Magician-san, I have kept you too long from your quest. I will finish my story another time. Okay, that sucks. Geyser of fire. Not gonna get it until later. Tease. Alright, we're gonna go to Trincomalee, Sri Lanka. Ah, welcome to my home, my friend. I don't think we'll be bothered again here. This guy has turned into an ogre or demon like 8 times. Sri Lanka, formerly known as Ceylon, is a beautiful island. I hope you enjoy your visit here. I'm still interested in purchasing the Demoscene sword if you've run across it in your travels. Oh, so this is the famed Demoscene sword. Not much to brag about, is it? It's all pitted and rusted. I can understand why you would not use it as a personal weapon. Oh look, I've snapped it in 2. Drat. Well, a promise is a promise. I shall pay you for finding the sword for me. Here's $50,000. Perhaps I can unload this thing on one of the tourists. Ah, there's some writing on the sword. It may be of interest to you. It seems to be a list of formula, and there are words. 15 spells are common to all elemental magic colleges, according to the mage Abu Dar es Salam. A bunch of numbers. There's one last bit of text here. Mage, deliver the jawbone of the auk to the bearer of this sword and learn wonders. What am I supposed to do with an auk jawbone? I suppose we'll find out when you get it. Good luck. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Ah, you found me. Good. I finally arranged it so I can travel in Cambodia again. Or is it still called Kampuchea these days? In any event, I have been allowed to survey these ancient ruins of Angkor Wat. Hey, Booyayun. Eep, op, ok, ah. I have found an ancient inscription. It concerns the king Jayavarman II, who came from Java to establish the Khmer kingdom. It will take me time to translate the inscription. Please return another time. Okay. Visit our capitalist. You do not know how glad I am to see you, friend. The Department of Investigation of Psychic Phenomena is at its collective wit's end. There has been a recent outbreak of vampirism, and the authorities actually think my department is supposed to get rid of it. We've detected a leakage of psychic energy from some other dimension. It may be the cause for the upsurge in vampires. We hope you can help us get rid of these pests. They are bad for business. They've gotten so capitalist here since we first met them. In this castle, we found a secret passageway under Vlad's crypt. It led to his secret torture room. Ugh! We found a note drawn in blood on an ancient rack. It said, "The secret of the fire geyser is known to the samurai." Why would Vlad the Impaler be interested in what a Japanese warrior would know? These arcane doings are of more interest to you than they are to me. No profit in them, as far as I can see. There was more to the message we found. It said, "This can be known only by one who is sworn to fire." The most powerful attack of fire calls down flames from the heavens. The square is the truth. To 2 aspects of rage, add 3 powders, 5 stones, and 8 jewels. Even if you guess my riddle, know that at the end I lied. I'm still willing to buy back the amulet of the evil eye since you no longer need it. Because you are so shrewd a merchant, I will now raise my offer to 1,500 American dollars. A fortune! The amulet is now used property, is it not? I will be lucky to recoup my money on it, but I like you, friend. Thank you. Thank you very much. Athens, Greece. We get to talk to an authentic Greek person. Hello again, Master Magician. It is good to see you are still about your errand, awakening the world to the return of the gods and the power. The high hill of the Acropolis shakes at your battles in the other world. You'll need all the protection you can find when facing the Lord Wizards. There's an item of magical protection that is more powerful than the Ring of Scintillant Rays. The item is rumored to be in the domain ruled by the rival of Merlin, whoever he may be. Its magic item will prove most useful to you when the end of your quest is at hand. Thus has Hermes revealed this news to me. In Loch Ness, Scotland. Fantastic. Fantastic. There's that bottle of whiskey. Let's go. Good to see you again, old boy. Afraid I don't have much time to chat. All the locals say that Nessie will be poking her head up any time now. Anytime now. I don't have the synchronicity Franker Faces emote, and I really wish I did. In fact, I need to go do that right now. This will take only a moment. It's necessary. Oh, come on, Cloudflare. Alright, there we go. I probably need to reload my chat. There we go. I had to do it. I had to do it. Okay, back to the story at hand. Not that I believe such nonsense, mind you. Still, it would be something to see old Nessie. I say, old man, you were quite adept at finding that cap of defense. Perhaps you can find another headwear for me. A local man stopped me yesterday and said you'd be able to track down a crown of Ra, whatever that is. How this local knew of the crown is beyond me, but the Scots are a bit mystic if you catch my drift. Anyway, the crown is supposed to be somewhere in the vicinity of that Mind Lord wizard fellow. If you find it, you're supposed to bring it to me, according to this local. I'll know what to do with it. Sell the damn thing as far as I can tell. Oh, by the by, the crown can't be worn, or so I'm told. Midsummer Eve is in 3 days. You better wrap up your business in Magic Land real soon, otherwise our Midsummer Night Druid Festival will be a dud. I make 70% of my yearly gross on that festival. So I really, really want you to get rid of those Lord Wizards with dispatch. What's the word? I can't help you until you've settled what awaits you in your college's domain. Alright, so we're gonna go... Now that we've talked to everyone, at least once, we're gonna save it. Sheet 42. Alright, so now we can go to every domain, and we're probably gonna get a message from the Lord Wizards each time we do. So this might take a moment because we're gonna have to look at each of their good faces. We've already seen the Earth Wizard, so let's start with Fire. Look at this guy! It's the same face! It is the same face. And he's got a tiny little, like inappropriate dagger. So I need to copy out screenshots of these faces every time. Because this is the reward you get for playing this game, is getting these faces. Welcome to my humble realm, human. I've been waiting for you. My instruments of torture are prepared and ache to taste your flesh and blood. I think I'll roast your body over coals until your flesh turns black and splits open. I shall enjoy hearing your screams of agony. I learned my techniques from the Inquisition before I set out to conquer the Aztecs. Too bad I had so little time to play with my new subjects. But I was needed here in the realm of magic to rule the kingdom of fire, and so I came, gladly. Fire is the loveliest element of all. It can hurt so very much. Perhaps you'd like to taste the burning pleasures of fire right now. I think I'll play with you just a bit before submitting your flesh to the flames. Let's heat things up right now. And so we're just going to turn on all of our cheats and go kill that guy. So somewhere in here, you'll notice there's like firewalls now. Somewhere in here is the fire wizard. There are no chests to find, so we just have to kill everything. The one problem with fighting the wizards... Oh yeah, cheats like crazy. Fuck this game. But, oh, he cast Dispel on us. So we gotta wait until Dispel runs out. We have to turn the flight timer off. And we have to go back, cast Magic Wings again, lock our flight timer again, and now we can start casting our dragon spells again. I believe there's also an enemy summoner here, which is kind of like around this area of the map. Usually those really thick clusters of enemies indicate that an enemy generator is present. But yeah, so without cheats, I don't know if it would be possible to actually finish this game legitimately. Simply because the rate at which it generates enemies is faster than the rate you can kill them without using like an insane number of spells. And the interface to access the spells that allow you to actually kill things is kind of insane. So, even with cheats, there's still a lot of work that you have to do to actually finish the game. I think we found where the enemy wizard is. I think he's hiding over here in this giant cluster of enemies. And even the enemy wizards don't have unique sprites. They just have, effectively palette swaps. Oh, we seem to have killed everything here. So that must be the enemy wizard down into the center? Or over here? Ah, here he is. So we can't kill the enemy wizard with spells. We can only kill him with melee combat. Also, he uses the flight spell. So he'll go fly out over the water there. And cast a bunch of stun spells on us. So we need to go get to him. Oh, he stunned us. So we can't get to him now. He doesn't actually have to cast the flight spell. He just automatically flies whenever he gets over water. We can't hurt him now because he's fire. Okay, we got him. But we're not done yet. We can't just leave the level. We have to kill everything in the level, even though we've killed the lord of the level. Oh, did I say water instead of lava? Seems likely. Yeah, so we're just gonna summon a bunch of dragons to do our dirty work, because individually targeting spells is just an exercise in futility. Fortunately, we know there isn't anything that we have to actually, like, recover here. So we can just cast this and let it take its course. Something is, like, making our dragons turn against us. I don't know if that's, like... The last time this was happening, that was in the fire domain, so I don't know if it's just, like... Okay, there we go. So now we're just gonna unfreeze all of our memory locations. Fly back. I am properly humbled by your power, great wizard, and I concede my life. Wherever I go hereafter, I know I will never be as warm, nor will the sharp tang of brimstone ever fill my nostrils again. Receive my title as Lord Wizard of the Fire Realm. You have earned it. The great decision is yours to make. Will you let my spirit continue to exist in that place of nothingness, or will you shatter my soul and wipe my very being out of existence? Let's spare his spirit. We're a good guy. Even now you teach me kindness. I shall watch over you from the place of nothingness. I pass on to you my greatest treasure, my collection of aspect ingredients for the highest level spells of the Ethereal College of Magic. May they help you survive whatever dangers are yet to come. And, like, this is his shit. 30 lemons and 30 fingers, a bunch of bricks and 50 iPads. Thanks, dude. You've been kinder to me than I was to you. To atone for my many failings, I bequeath you my totem. Take also my remaining life energy. It is the last gift I can give you. I am ready, O Spirit of Oblivion. Take me in your wings and let us journey far. The Lord Wizard of the Fire Domain is dead. Fiery-tempered Don Diego E. Garcia is no more, and last his tempestuous spirit is at rest. His rise to power in Valoria caused much violence both here and in Terra. Now you are creating the same disturbances, Robert. The one-time Lord of Fire to the Domain, Sir Adolphus Piedmont, would have rejoiced to see his successor humbled. Perhaps the two former Fire Lords will meet again in that place beyond life. May their meeting be amicable this time. Enough! There's still much to do, Robert. Replenish your spells for your next challenge, and keep looking for my body. Keep looking for my body. Wink, wink. Cheat 43. I think we're gonna hit like 255 saves and it's just gonna totally blow up. We're not gonna do the Earth Tour this time because fuck that. What's next? We need to look at something. I need to look at something real quick. I need to look at Spellcraft aspects of Valor fac. Because we can't summon dragons. We can't summon dragons underwater. So what will we do? What can we conjure? Well, we can't do phantasms or demons because we don't have the words for it yet. So our next best option is illusions. I guess we're gonna have to make do with summoning 1,000,000 illusions. Do we have the illusion spell memorized once already? We do not. So let's do it. Illusion is red crystal orb. We're gonna use 3 of these aspects because we are not an air mage. We're going to use 8 jewels. We're going to use 12 powders. And we're going to use 6 stones. Oh, we got level 4 air. Maybe we can do something with that. But we need level 2 air for this. You're creating an illusion, the Air College Conjuration spell. It brings a wraith from the dimension it inhabits into the domain. An illusion holds and attacks the most dangerous enemy, sapping the enemy's life force. The illusion continues to attack until it expires or is destroyed. Average, good, good, good. And so it has these stats. So let's save it again. Let's save it again on cheat 43. Hopefully that's saved. And we're gonna try to do a higher level illusion spell. Okay, so we got illusion, right? We're gonna modify it. We're gonna use one more aspect, and we're gonna use like, I don't know, 50% more stuff and like 4 candles. And we're gonna use the 3rd level spell word. Oh, it didn't work and we died. So, let me see here. So we're going to modify this again. The spell. Oh! No, wait. Okay, here we go. Spellbook. Conjure illusion. Examine. Modify. Alright, so illusion. We're going to use 15 jewels. 21 powders. 10 candles. And 15 stone. Demo version of that popular album by the band Bush in the 90s. So this is the maximum. This is as good as this spell can get. And health points are 42. We were fighting illusions that had, like 80 health or something like that. So enemies can cast spells that are beyond the power that you can command. see. Let's see. We have level 4 air, so let's see if we can get anything out of that. Battle Ram. Ghost Walk? Snowstorm. Okay. Sheet 43, and then let's see, we want a white egg. 40 jewels. $30 powders. So we're gonna do water next because water is the most obnoxious. 60 candles. Oh, nope, nope. Fuck. Can we just... No, we can't type this in. We say 40 jewels. $30 powders. 60 candles. 5 eggs. And no stones. You've created a snowstorm, the most potent air college terrain modifier spell. Creates a blinding snowstorm. When the spell is cast, a glowing ball rises to the heavens, and soon snow begins to fall, eventually blanketing the domain. The snow extinguishes burning objects, damages beings and objects, and slows the movement of walking beings. It is most useful in the Earth domain. It does no damage. They lie. So we're gonna try one more thing, which is gonna be a this is gonna be a spell that's exclusive to the Air College, so it might not work. We might not be able to do this. So we need a moccasin. Is this a moccasin? No, this is a moccasin. Yeah. And we're gonna need 5 aspects because it's level 4. We're gonna need 16 jewels, 40 powders. Now, normally you'd have to comb through books and copy protection and guess at each of these things, and every incorrect guess would give you, it would send you to the death domain, requiring you to either load your game or get back out. And it would also consume all of the ingredients that you were putting into the spell. We can't cast that spell. The spell you tried to create can be made only by a wizard pledged to that elemental magic college. Such a mistake is inevitably fatal. And we're not going to fuck around with the death domain. It's pointless. Because it's almost entirely pits now. Oh, he's back to life. He came back to life to tell us how bad we are at the game. Where's the terrain spell? Okay, steam vapor. Oh, it wasn't saving all those times, too. You can't save with the same name and overwrite, so... We're just going to ignore those extra spells, and we're going to do the water domain by hand. Don't you even think about dirtying up my realm. If you're so keen on fighting, go visit the Conquistador over in the Fire Realm. I won't have you making a mess here. Okay. I suppose the old Don... Bad news, boss. Uh-oh. What's the bad news, Booyah-yoon? Oh, because the fire guy is gone? I suppose the old Don told you how I died in fright looking at his instruments of torture. He lies. Well, I did die, but I had already been recruited to become Lord Wizard of this realm, and so leaving my body behind was no great loss. Look at the magnificent world of water, which is mine alone. I don't see how the other lords can possibly be happy in their realms. No, for me, the cool, refreshing sea is the only realm worth having. Now look, you've dragged dirt into my lovely world. Yes, right there on the bottom of your shoes. Dirt. Shame on you. Now I'm going to have to punish you for dirtying up my lovely sea floor. Dun, 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 dun. That's this is supposed to hurt every enemy in the domain, but it doesn't. Also, my illusions are not as good as theirs. Oh, I died. Look how quickly they kill my illusions. Okay, yeah, so we have to do the oh, we have to do the fucking targeting thing again. Do the old targeting dance. He comes back to life to chide you. That's good of him. Yep, we already heard that shit. I don't care. Health, dispel, magic wings, explosion. Cast magic wings. The guy's attacking us so frequently that it was knocking us down. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is another element of the game, which is that your Stonehenge has a health meter, and if your Stonehenge dies, it's game over also. So the first thing we need... Whoa, this is a weird map. We need to find that water dude and murder him as quickly as possible. Oh, we should kill this thing too. You know what we might be able to do? We might be able to do ice arrows. It might be possible to spam this because it auto-targets. And we can, maybe get enough of these out in the environment to, kill some stuff. Oh, no, they try to hit the illusions and they can't hit the illusions. So, we're screwed there. Let's see. What if we use Blowy Guy? Oh, those just instantly get destroyed. I don't even know what that did. It, like... It, like, turned a guy into a whirlpool, and now the wizard is, like, dispelled himself? Oh, he can teleport. That's not great. And he teleported again. He dispelled us. He turned us into a frog. Look at that fucking frog! Apparently this is supposed to, like, hurt everything in the domain. Like, can I spam this fast enough for it to have any meaningful effect? I'm getting, like, feared, too. My illusions instantly die. And they're as powerful as you can make the illusion spell. They're maximum power. Ding da ding da ding da ding da ding da ding. I'm literally casting the illusion spell every frame. And they're dying so fast that there's only like 2 or 3 of them at any given time. Oh, we killed one. We killed one enemy. A while back, I determined that the vapor spells are completely ineffective against enemies, but they are useful by enemies against you. Also, this one has infinite duration. Let's see if we can get off a cast of magic wings to maybe get out of here. Look like a fucking Sierra death animation. When you do that thing where, like, you do the fear thing in midair. Okay, if we're lucky here, we can switch over to not ice arrows. We can switch over to explosion. And we'll have to manually cycle through these targets every time. Oops. A zombie climbed the ridge, even though they're not supposed to be able to. Maybe it got spawned up there. Seems more likely than the game breaking that particular mechanic in that way. Okay. Got it. Yeah, so not only are we fighting the enemy wizards who can summon infinite monsters, practically one per frame, we're also fighting these generators that do the same thing. We're getting like cursed. Okay, we blew up the generator. Now that the generator is dead, we're gonna go to our defense spells. Now we're just gonna spam Dispel on everything. Until the auto-targeting takes care of it. Like, the Dispel spell is one of the best spells in the game because it can hurt any enemy, including illusions. And, it takes them out in, like, two to three shots. It seems like now it's actually taking quite a few more shots to take out enemies like the undead. Which have like 200 or 300 health. Another thing to note is that your undead summons can never have that much health. Your undead summons have, I think, like up to 100 if you maximize the spell. We're gonna need to cast magic wings to get out of this. And they're still gonna like push us all around. Now, most likely there's gonna be another generator around here somewhere. We need to find that before we deal with the wizard. Because otherwise we're just gonna... We're gonna get trapped by the infinitely spawning enemies who make like these huge clusters. Although it may just be the wizard. Oh, that's a pleasant noise. So let's freeze our flight timer. Let's try to get to the wizard. Oh, maybe he's to the south. Maybe not. Who knows? Also, there's one big chest here, so we need to find the big chest. Need to find the big chest before we finish up. Ah, there he is. Oh, he teleported. He's got a teleport spell. I believe the teleport spell might be air exclusive. I'm not entirely certain. But the wizards do use... they do use spells from other domains entirely freely. Also, this, like, anti-magic spell that he used on me, it lasts a really long time. And while it's active, you can just very easily get pushed into pits. Your attacks have no knockback when you use... No. Okay, we might be dead. This might be a bust. Because he cast permanent anti-magic on us, I guess. You have to, like, alternate between attack and moving back into position, because you get knocked back every time you get attacked, and, Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Oh, now they're pushing us down. Oh, and we're dead. So we're gonna have to die again and restart this level. Just a quick note, there's absolutely no way I could have prevented that. Alright. Let's load our game. We're gonna get this friggin' water domain out of the way, because it's by far the most difficult, if only because we don't have the option of using dragons here. Dragons are definitely the, like, the savior of this. Okay, so let's see if we can just cast our illusion spell so frequently and repeatedly that we can get, like, enough of a damage output going that they'll be able to, like, do something or anything against the enemies here. Like, I think if we build up just a big chunk of these guys, maybe they'll be able to fight on even terms. We'll see what happens, though. We're just gonna summon them every step until we get to the area we need to be in. Ding, 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 ding. Hopefully we can just outnumber them, and that'll be enough of an advantage for our inferior quality. Bear in mind, this is the best quality illusion that you can make, and it's still not nearly as good as the ones that the enemies can make. Okay, so our goal here is to find, I think it was over to the right here a little bit. By the way, they're killing multiple of our illusions every frame. As you can see, how many of them are dying in my wake. Okay, this is where we want to get, because we want to friggin'... we want to kill this generator here. So we're just gonna spam these guys on it. The game does allude to being able to create higher level versions of lower level spells by using a higher word. But that's simply not true. It's not possible to do that. We'll need to dispel these illusions before we'll be able to mass target that generator. Oh, new ghosts spawned out of nowhere. We were just down at the generator. Oh, we got the generator targeted. Okay. Did we get the generator? I actually don't know. Okay, but now we can switch to Dispel. And we can use Dispel pretty effectively. Because it'll dispel everything instead of just one type of enemy. And now we can test the effectiveness of illusions on, say, undead. Oh, by the way, notice he's standing on top of this mud and attacking me with a physical attack. Something that we can't do. We're a frog now. Oh, and we're dead. Yep, instant death. He attacked us. He attacked us from an area where we were unable to attack him back because we can't attack in water. He's able to attack in water. After that, he cast a bunch of spells while he was still under anti-magic. Like, this game has absolutely no concept of, like, any kind of, like, fairness or equal rules or even balance. This game's a huge pile of shit. Honestly. You'll notice our necessary to defend home base has been damaged by a quarter already, and the mission has literally just started. So we're gonna have to spam